Friends, there's a Southern California fall favorite tradition that takes place beginning Labor Day weekend at Disney's California Adventure when the town of Radiator Springs transforms to celebrate the very happy and festive Halloween celebration, where not only the citizens of Radiator Springs but the citizens of Disneyland all come together to party and celebrate everything that makes the fall one of the best times of the year. So what do you say for the next 20 minutes we walk up and down the entire thoroughfare known as Route 66, looking at all of the holiday decorations and transformations that take Radiator Springs and manifest it into Halloween. So if you're wondering, is that normally there? Today, we're going to break it down so you know what the park looks like at night when it's fully illuminated with all of the decorations, extra props, extra characters, extra lights, even extra telephone poles. As we visit it not only during day and night, but look back before the land transformed into Halloween to better understand and appreciate everything that happens to set the mood just right for those Oogie Boogie and Halloween nights. And break down as much Disneyland design theory as we can as we try to better understand why we all love this land so much and how it's become one of the major homes of the holidays at the Disneyland Resort. Honk if you're ready for a honkin' Halloween. When the cozy cones become crazy cones, you know that it's Halloween time inside of Radiator Springs. Greeting fellow citizens of Disneyland, Brickey here. Today's adventure, let's look at all the fall decor inside of Radiator Springs for Fall 2001 Designer Walkthrough Tour. Before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's remember where we were at last holiday season. This is as far as you could get inside of Radiator Springs. And if we time travel up to April earlier this year during the Touch of Disney celebration, we can not only see a lot less people, but a lot less decorations. This is the natural state of Route 66, themed after the movie, where there's only telephone poles on the left side of the street. And over to our right, we can see the traditional Carsland billboard that greets everyone as they come into the land. Now when we fast forward to today, you can see that second set of telephone poles has been erected on the right side of the street so they can do that drapery of classic 1950s, 60s America of decorations going over the main thoroughfare. And over to the right, we can see the Halloween version of the billboard that greets us as we come into Carsland, as well as a few extra citizens of Disneyland. Be honest in the comments below, have you ever noticed those witch hats that live on top of the telephone poles on the right side of the street that are made out of black pylons or black cones? Carsland would open on June 15th, 2012, which means they probably started planning it somewhere around 2008, 2007. 2010, Instagram would come out and we would see the park forever change and that every land would be designed with photo ops installed inside. So folks could remember their perfect day at Disneyland, but also share it on Instagram and let all of their other friends know they had a perfect day at Disneyland. Therefore, a marketing and promotional tool disguised as a customer reward, which I would say has a lot to do with the transformation this land gets every holiday season. The craftiness of the Carsland decorations is just damn cute and clever to take a distributor cap and turn it into a spider. Or take a series of chains, put on some wrenches that are now spiders that will transform to snowflakes soon, throw some upside down cones in there for fangs, a couple of white walls for eyes, and then use mufflers as frowning eyebrows to make it menacing. And not make it visible during the day, but cover it with lights so that at night the transformation into Halloween, into the holidays, is very, very clear anywhere you look. This row of purple trees with just a little bit of orange sprinkled inside of it immediately sets the tone. You know what time of year it is. All the little details planted inside of Disneyland that makes it feel more like a real little city than an amusement park are the details that I'm here for. Have you ever noticed this cute little sign, the Knights of Combustion, below the adorable Welcome to Radiator Springs, Gateway to Ornament Valley sign? These are the things that I wish they would merchandise. When fans were finally granted access to Radiator Springs during Touch of Disney, a lot of different little pieces weren't actually available. Fillmore's here on the edge of town was not a place where you could get snacks, it was just a cool down spot. No fruit, no bottles of water, and no chips. I never thought I would be filming potato chips, but after seeing this just being a sit and rest area, it's nice to see the snacks back here on the edge of Radiator Springs. As we work our way over to Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, Mater's Graveyard Jamboree, we can see these scary dudes greeting us with engine blocks for shoulders. I love the installation of new characters there to add extra life to the land during this time, but also the set dressing for Mater's petting zoo, where this little feller turns into his mummy, wrapped in towing straps. But let's break down the transformation of the actual attraction sign, flanked by the purple forest on each side of it at night. But if you look closely, you can tell that the two bat wings are actually installed on the back side of the sign, as well as some rods that go up to make bats look like they're floating above the famous tow truck. And then the Halloween portion of the sign is actually just laid over the traditional little cart that Mater is towing into town. Design doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, it works best when it's crafty. And the best thing about this installation of putting the wings behind the major sign and the other one draped over the existing sign is there's no wear and tear to the marquee for this attraction. So awesome how hard they go with even turning over the signs in Radiator Springs. Not just their attractions, but the whole facades and signs, even better when the nightfall hits. Blackout on Route 66. Hocus Pocus, 3 wacky witches, 1 hilarious comedy, undead batteries and undead batteries jump again, second one's better, or Escape to Hitch Mountain. I'm a former professional movie poster designer, and I love these. The movie posters are always such a nice touch. So many fun little hidden secrets and puns in there. Lovely, lovely designer detail that many people probably go right past, never take the time to enjoy. All of the humor planted inside of Radiator Springs. And this building right here, this is just a break room for cast members, but hidden inside of the land, looks like it's part of Radiator Springs. The land doesn't suffer at all because the facade just tells the story that you've made it to Route 66. Next to Sarge's Surplus, we find a pumpkin patch of gasoline canisters, which probably makes you wonder, what normally sits in this little green space? Well, the answer is, when we look back to early April, absolutely nothing. And the more you look around Radiator Springs, the more you realize that there was lots of little flower beds, little green spaces designed inside of this land, which makes it feel more real that these little businesses would actually have a little bit of land on their own. I definitely enjoy the attention to detail in this green space planted inside of Radiator Springs. It's something they could have got away with not doing and just put everything next to one another, but those little gardens add that development of making it feel like it's a real little city inside of DCA. Speaking of playing the game, what normally sits there, the Cozyco Motel gets a lot of added features during this season. When we look back to early April, we can see the 2 ginormous scary cones are nowhere to be seen. And we also notice the transformation of each of the dining cones in the back get a face put on them for Halloween. But each of those faces are different. And the fact that each one displays its own menacing frown is a great detail. It's also impressive that they went with a die cut for these 2 oversized cones. Once again, the shortcut is to put a graphic on it, a vinyl decal, but to actually go in there and die cut out these faces and these mouths, that's that extra added attention that makes Disneyland superior to other theme parks. And let's go another layer by adding in this battery that is charging them up. And if you walk past them at night, the light that illuminates these cones does flicker as if they're getting a volt sent to them. I absolutely adore hand-painted signs. When I walked in, I thought, no way did they repaint this? And I was correct. No way they did not repaint this. This is a vinyl banner stretched over the existing facade. I love this little Easter egg that Mater is dressed up like a vampire during the Halloween season. Kudos to whoever thought of the idea of what if we dress the characters up in Halloween costumes. One of the greatest details here after hours in Radiator Springs during the haunting season. When we circle back around and examine the sign, you can look over in the bottom right and see that the vinyl banner is pulling a little bit. You can also notice that there are eyelets all across the bottom to where this pulls over the original sign. Not a perfect solution, but perfectly does just add in that extra atmosphere with the trunk or treat slogan on the billboard. But as we look back, we can see some great Halloween perfection as the Cozyco Motel does a massive transformation in setting the tone of this time of year. And I'll say it 1,000 times over, whoever the genius is that figured out to put the citizens of Radiator Springs into their Halloween costumes is a genius. During Oogie Boogie Bash, you'll find characters on each side of the Cozyco Motel, allowing kids to walk up and to get their photos with them. And then to see them drive away when it's all lit up and feeling spooky and they're in their costumes, it's just like so perfect. It really is a trunk or treat. And really the idea of going through and making sure that each one of the cones has a different facial expression. It is that type of detailing that not only makes great design, but it allows people to know that the people that are doing this design really care about the details. They care about getting it right. They care about making this land feel like it does come to life during Halloween. It's that type of deep thought, as well as how beautiful these trees are that are in between all the cones with the flowers that bloom that are a near identical Pantone match. It's well thought out, and I appreciate that.
One of my Radiator Springs dreams is to get to go inside of the motel lobby. It is so accurate to the film. It has so many fun design details inside of it. And even best is what this lobby looks like during the holiday season. I know there's so many different Christmas things to see, but when that season comes in just a few weeks, make sure you take time to look inside the lobby, because there's just so much holiday treasure to discover.
So if you're enjoying the designer walkthrough tours, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because we're definitely coming back here in holidays to show you how it's evolved. Now, the shop at the edge of Route 66 and Cross Street has gone through a serious Halloween transformation, even though it's not even open for business yet. This has become more of a set during these times. And back in April times, touch of Disney times, pandemic times, well, we're kind of still there. Anyways, that's depressing. Back then, this area became a courtyard to hang out and eat. It was an area to meet up with your friends, a good spot to sit down and watch Shaboom go off at sunset. It was a very different spot than what it is today. I said it back then, and I mean it now. Touch of Disney was a most unique way to enjoy Disney's California Adventure and Radiator Springs. On our April look back, not only did we notice that there was people dining all around this shop, but it also didn't have the spooky trees planted on the top of it, or something we can't see right now during the daylight, but trees full of lights. And as well, the sign had been changed to say different language celebrating the holidays, getting away from its normal signage. Overall, a pretty big transformation. When we come over here and look at the pin trading sign, I love this little seal down at the bottom that says Carburetor County Pin Trading Association. Those hidden graphic design details really get me, as well as look at that background. And then as we come over to the front lawn, this guy's normally not planted here. Once again, adding in extra characters during the Halloween season to make it feel more full and more full of life, or death in this case.
Out of the last 3 lands to get added to the Disneyland Resort, Carsland is the only one that transforms for the holidays. Thus far, Galaxy's Edge and Avengers Campus stays the same. It's nice to have a land that's a win for the holiday season and adds a little bit more festivities at the Disneyland Resort during the best time of the year, fall and holiday season. Christmas, whatever you call it, Hanukkah. I don't care what you celebrate. I just care that you love the fall and the pageantry of it. One big excuse to party, and with Oogie Boogie and now Merriest Nights, there's an invitation to party with less people inside of Disneyland than ever before during the holiday season.
How dare you? You thought I didn't notice the sign was different on the other side? As we spin around the street to come over to Luigi's, the home of Pumpkin Halloween, notice the interior of these neon tires has been filled in with a menacing hubcap that's been placed in there that is also a perfect match for the same style guide that we saw over at the Cozyco. It is important when you add in these details that they all feel strung together and make this universe feel real. And of course, I'm going to give a shout out to the orange and yellow lights that at nighttime are going to give us that holiday vibe. But when we look back to April, we can tell by our archival footage that those tires normally are just empty. There's nothing in there. So literally Disney plugging the holes to put in more theming where they can make it fit appropriately, as well as the leaning tower of tires is missing the orange banding on it that creates more of a monster face inside this recognizable icon on the edge of town. Now, as we see all the citizens of Disneyland getting ready for Oogie Boogie Bash to kick off at 6 o'clock, going down Cross Street, I want to go back to April one more time. I specifically remember being in love with this little area right here on the edge of the street. I remember saying this would be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have an unbelievable vibe at the edge of Cross Street. Not only are the Mickey-colored chairs gone, but the silence is gone. Disneyland is back to life, it's back to activity, and I'm happy about it. I'm here for it. I'm enjoying the energy, but there is a certain part of me that does have a special nostalgia for just seeing it during the upside down. I guess it's just knowing that it's a moment in time that's now gone. For the better, sure, but there is something depressing about the passing of time. But what gets me happy and all horny, and I can say that because it's appropriate for the Horn O' Plenty Cornucopia, or Carnucopia? Hornucopia? Who knows? It is fun though to see this transformation of this icon. Once again, one of those things that makes Carsland feel accurate to that roadside manner that it's supposed to induce in each of us. And I see you, little pumpkin gasoline canister hiding over there. Oh, I see you. You're not going to scare me. So let's talk about something that is new and very, very clever. The idea that as we walk to the edge of town, we see billboards advertising the old Stark Motors. Eyes in the Skies in 55, a shout out to 1955, the year of Disneyland's construction, but a perfect transformation from one land story to the next. Stark on one side, Radiator Springs gateway to Ornament Valley on the other side. Whichever way you're going, these billboards are doing the job of a billboard of telling you the town that you're traveling toward. I'm so in love with this idea of how these two lands come together, and I also very much enjoy this nice big green space. Sure, the car part plants are very, very clever, but overall, just having this open berth here, it adds a little bit of silence, a little bit of space, and helps make a quiet spot so that the story builds, fades down, and then builds again, depending on which way you're going. And while we're in this quiet spot, or think of this as the idea of movies going into different scenes or a book going into a different chapter, a great spot to give a little relief area to our four-legged friends providing services for their best friends inside of Disneyland. But this back little corner, this is so important because it all can't be loud and noisy all the time. You need these little areas to create the ebb and flow of show. So it's a great spot to put a pet relief area or to put a cast member facility. These little areas that just kind of spread out the loud parts that we need to make it feel special. And yes, that was a hitchhiking ghost. I know it would be expensive, and I don't like to complain. I like to be grateful for what I'm giving, but I would love to see the cars each get a little bit of a Halloween costume. It doesn't need to be as drastic as Lightning McQueen or Mater, but a little something to say that this is the home of Pumpkin, pumpkin, pumpkin Halloween. Pumpkin, pumpkin, pumpkin Halloween. Everybody loves a pumpkin Halloween.
Everybody loves a pumpkin Halloween.
Once again, Disney California Adventure will end its normal operating day at 6 o'clock. Thank you.
Go ahead. I know you want to. No, seriously, go ahead. Don't let me stop you. I know your grandma's not paying attention. I'm not going to get in your way. Go ahead. I know you want to hit that car. Smack that car. Yeah. Back in April, you can really see that this area had a lot less decorations and decor going around it. And I hope that you're kind of getting the vibe that one of the things I plan on doing with the designer walkthrough series is to focus on something different every time I come into these lands. So this time, yeah, we're looking a lot at the Halloween decorations and what the land looks like without them. But this is a way that we can always have something new to talk about when we explore these lands. So if you're one that enjoys when I get into the history and the deep design effects, we'll get there. But variety is the spice of life. and this is the variety of now. During the daytime, I was having such a difficult time capturing the window displays of the stores here on Route 66. These pumpkins that are made out of tire treads with an oil funnel sticking out of the top. Just what clever showmanship that is to say, what would these folks put in their window for this season? And then there's a transformation for the building that I normally refer to as City Hall, but it's actually traffic court and the fire station and the police department. You know, the things that make Radiator Springs run, but putting the cones upside down to create fangs, the idea of the giant jumper cables to ignite life, Frankenstein's monster type life into these windows at night, the spooky wreath made of electrical cables that will become a Christmas wreath soon, and then the city's founder wearing that black pylon as a hat once again reinforces the style guide of the witches' hats on top of the new telephone poles. But what Halloween magic when we see this building animated and the building itself become a character at night. Both creative problem solving and creative storytelling turn in a building into a character. Ornament Valley looks pretty calm during the day. It'd be hard to do something at that scale. But at night, when the lights come on and it's no longer all of the warm oranges and reds that we're familiar with, but instead the greens and purples and oranges of Halloween, and then you see the trick-or-treaters going by on the edge of Cross Street as they're exiting into the Pacific Wharf, this is the Halloween vibe that I'm here for. It's that cinematic experience that this land can provide for the Halloween season. Moving over to our final building to look at today, Flo's V8 Cafe, sitting proudly at the corner of 66 and Cross Street, transforms at night with this beautiful chain spider web that drapes over the top of it. I love that detail so much. And then we're greeted by this special spider friend, who, if we examine closer, does seem very familiar, almost like maybe a shout out to another wild ride that we've been on before and another theme park that's not too far away. Why, could that be one of Mr. Toad's vehicles with a couple of painted fire extinguishers on the front, a barrel with tread for claws or fangs on the back of it? Do you think that at the end of Toad's, when he goes to hell, that maybe this is the spider that helped him climb back into our world and our reality? I want to believe so. And there it is at night, all illuminated, looking like a perfect Halloween destination. Hey, I hope you have enjoyed looking all around Radiator Springs at the transformation for the holiday season and the transformation of Halloween perfection. Halloween. Toad Spider car, don't drink and drive like Toad, you won't get too far.
From City Hall, thank you so much for taking this designer walkthrough tour with me for fall 2021 when we look at all the design details of Radiator Springs during the Halloween season. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. Let me know, is this your favorite Halloween land? And if not, which one is? Don't worry, we'll be doing this again next month when the land transforms over into Christmas for the 2021 season. So thank you so much to all of my Club 1313 members for helping make today's video possible. And thanks to you for showing up and taking this designer walkthrough tour with me inside of Carsland for fall 2021. So friends, till the next time I see you standing on the corner of Cross Street and Route 66 in the middle of Halloween, I'll see you back here on the channel with more designer walkthrough tours.